All right, welcome to this episode of BPI Podcast. I'm here with Dr. Chris Jones. Dr. Jones, thank you for being here.
Chris is fine. Chris to Chris.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Dr. Jones, you're running for second congressional district, office that's been held 3 terms now?
No, 6 terms
6 terms
by French Hill.
by French Hill.
And there was a Republican before French Hill.
Okay.
Tim Griffin.
Okay.
Was Tim Griffin? Tim Griffin might have proceeded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I didn't realize
Vic Snyder was before Tim. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Didn't realize he'd been there that long.
Yeah. The last Democrat was Vic Snyder.
So, what made you decide Congress, and what made you decide now's the time to do that?
A couple things. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on to have this conversation. I really appreciate it. I always enjoy these kinds of conversations. Look, when I look at the moment we're in, and I look at Arkansas. I'm a 7th generation Arkansan. My family's been here for over 200 years.
Yes, sir.
And Arkansas gave me the foundation to be able to go to Morehouse College and get 2 degrees, to go to MIT and get 3 degrees, to walk the halls with Nobel laureates and billionaires. And I got all of that because of the foundation I got in Arkansas. And for me, I feel like it's part of my life's mission to give back to my home state so that other kids can have that same opportunity. So that's why I'm back and serving, and particularly for Congress. When I look at what is happening now in this moment, what I see is a shrinking of opportunity for our kids and our future. Right? This is the first time ever where kids leaving home have fewer prospects of opportunity than their parents. They whether it's buying a home or going to college, it's unaffordable. Whether it's getting an hourly job and trying to afford groceries and rent and some vacation, it's unaffordable. And that to me means that the opportunities aren't there. And so now you have a whole generation of folks who won't be able to go off and do amazing things like I was able to do. That's what I'm fighting for. And I think Congress is the place to do it in this moment, because I think that's where the change is going to come.
I agree. What a shame that's where we're at.
I mean, what a shame. What a shame.
Right.
Because Arkansas is an amazing place.
Right.
And there's a lot of potential. And our policies over the last 2 decades, decade and a half, have just shrunk those opportunities for the masses, but increased for the few.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a lifelong Arkansan.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
I've seen it for myself. For
yeah.
I understand.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. What do you think the biggest challenge is for us in Congress ahead, maybe for you?
Yeah. So, we're running this campaign, and it's really based on, when your car breaks down, when you need a boost, when you need a tire replaced, when you need some insurance, you call AAA. Our campaign is AAA.
Okay.
It's affordability and accountability for all.
Okay.
So I think where Congress needs to be focused is making life more affordable for everyone. That's housing and healthcare. It's gas and groceries. It's school, education, rent, you name it. There are so many things that are just out of control. And affordability is 2 parts, right? It is both the cost of things,
right,
and things are more affordable now because of tariffs, which Congress is supposed to control, but they're not. And it's the wages and income you have. And right now, when I look at Arkansas over the last decade or so, wages have generally been flat. Now, we can talk later about the net wealth of the person I'm running against, French Hill, but for now, I'll just say, in the masses, it's been flat. And what people have told me is that, like, look, I'm working just as hard, if not harder, but I'm able to afford way fewer things than I could before. I can't even think about a vacation.
Maybe even making more money than
maybe
they've
even
ever
make
made,
it, but I can't catch up.
Yeah.
So affordability is big. The other thing that I think Congress is responsible for, look, at the end of the day, when we look at what's happening, it's a big question of who pays the costs and who benefits. And when I think about accountability, there are too many instances where the average everyday Joe who is just trying to live their life, Jane who's just trying to go about and raise her kids, they're bearing the negative brunt, the costs of things, and they get no benefit. And there's a small group of folks who are getting all the benefits, and it's leaving the rest of us behind. And so I think Congress, I'm certain, not I think, Congress plays a pivotal role. It's constitutional, right? Two things, at least. I'll say three. Congress holds the power of the purse. They're supposed to control, the money. So instead of money going to fund a $1 billion ballroom with a bunker underneath, instead of money going to retrofit, take $1 billion and retrofit a $400 million plane that the American people won't benefit from, that money could go to SNAP benefits to help people get off to sustain themselves. We have kids. Arkansas is one of the worst states for food insecurity. We have more
Right.
kids going hungry every night than almost any other place. So when I think about where we are, I see both the challenge and the opportunity
Yeah.
because it's policy decisions that can make a difference.
We're low in food insecurity. We're at the
Yeah.
bottom we're at the bottom of education.
Yep.
We're at the bottom of our economic development isn't what our neighbors
It's not.
are,
It's
right?
not. They aren't coming. And here's the thing, Chris. So I'm a physicist.
Yes, sir.
I'm a nerd, a geek. I love science. I
Right.
have no problem with it.
Right.
People say what they will, but I'm glad to be a geek. Here's what one of the things that's important to understand is that forgot what I was gonna say. We were
I'm
talking
not sure
about.
where you were going with
we
it.
were-
I'm not sure. I'm not.
I was going somewhere. It was gonna
Normally,
be
I might be
good.
able to say.
We'll come back to it. It's gonna be
Yeah.
good. It's
Yeah.
gonna be good. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. That in physics we learn that certain things are like are laws.
Right.
Gravity is a law.
Right.
We're not gonna change. We can act against it. We're not gonna change gravity.
Right.
I'm a minister, and certain things are biblical. God ordained it to be
They
this
are what
way.
they are.
It is what it is. We're
Right.
not gonna change it. The things we're experiencing are not that. They are the direct result of policy choices. Someone is making a choice, and that choice is harming us. That's why Congress matters.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask about that.
Yeah.
You have the science background,
Yeah.
and how do you think that approaches how you deal with political problems maybe
Yeah.
differently than any candidate?
Yeah. So a couple things I'll say, and part of the reason I love science is look, I grew up riding dirt bikes, um, eating honeysuckle and fighting grasshoppers. And I didn't physically fight them, but you
Right.
probably know you
Yeah.
take
Oh,
take
yeah.
two grasshoppers, put them
Yeah.
close together, we'll leave the rest alone, right?
Right.
Um, but I say that to say I had an opportunity to explore, to make mistakes, to fail, to think about things. That's the Arkansas I grew up in. And for me, what that created in me was a curiosity, like an excitement about life. And that's what science is. And science has then taught me to look at the problem or the opportunity, right? And clearly look at it. Not not based on what somebody says, not based on lies, but based on the facts and the truth, what is actually here. Then to think about how we either build it or fix it using any tool. Right. So I'm a Democrat. I'm a Democrat.
Right.
But I also understand that there are tools that are liberal that can fix things. There are tools that are conservative that can fix things. I'm a Democrat who happens to be fiscally conservative. And
Okay.
I think that there are actually tools that can actually solve problems. So as a scientist, it's about defining the problem and then finding the best tool to solve the problem. And I think that's what differentiates me from a lot of politicians because they often come in already knowing what tool they're going to use. It's going to be this way or no way, or already knowing what the solution is without honestly looking at the problem. To a hammer, everything is a nail.
Right.
And I'm like, it shouldn't be that way. Why not say, hey, look, I'll have a conversation with a libertarian. And if honestly, if your idea is better and can help more people and can provide more opportunity and can make life more affordable and hold people accountable, let's go.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. I also interesting. I'm hearing you talk about maybe crossing party lines or where would you see yourself doing things like that, crossing party lines or breaking from the traditional, uh, fiscally conservative?
Yeah,
Where are
yeah.
those places at?
I mean, because look, I don't. Speaking of fiscally conservative, to me, um, $2 billion a day for a war is not fiscally conservative.
Right,
To me, repainting a reflecting pool and having a UFC rink in the White House, that's not fiscally conservative. The money could either be sent back to taxpayers or go for something else. But to your question about how do I think about working alongside, here's the funny thing. Um, I live it because my brother is a Republican.
okay.
My dad, he claims he's independent, but I think he's a Republican too.
Right, he didn't
Yeah.
wanna tell you.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
So growing up, my folks said, look, you know, it's not about which party you're in. It's about, are you honestly and objectively looking at the situation, being truthful and coming to your own conclusion. So at Thanksgiving, at the dinner table, we battle it out. I'm used to it. But I also know that they care about me. They care about each other. They care about humanity. So I believe that they want what's best.
Right,
That's the threshold.
right,
That's the test. Not whether you're Republican or Democrat or independent or libertarian, but whether you care about your neighbor. And I'll tell you another example. My wife, she's an emergency medicine physician. She's also a combat veteran. She served in Afghanistan.
wow.
Amazing woman, and mother of 3 girls. So she's phenomenal. I'll kick my coverage on
Yes,
when I
yes,
got married.
sir.
Yeah, but when she's in the ER and somebody comes in from a car wreck, she's not asking for their voter registration status, their party label.
Of course,
She's like, this person needs my help, and I'm going to help them.
right,
We are now in a situation where Congress should be saying the same thing. The country needs our help, and we need to help them. Period. Now, once we get stable, once we get everything fixed, then maybe we can argue over party labels and whatnot. But right now, we're in trouble.
yeah. Yeah, I grew up in a family like that too, where
Oh,
where, parties weren't an issue
yeah,
and that was things you could talk about
yeah,
around the table, and we did.
yeah.
I really appreciate that about my mother and my
Oh, it's great.
grandparents.
It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
Like have the differences, right?
yeah, but it's not like that. People don't sit down anymore. It's so politically divisive, everything. We're at
In
a
the buckets and I don't talk
yes,
to you, you don't talk to me. If you wear a red hat, I can't talk to you. If you wear a
and
blue shirt,
right,
or can't talk. If you have a rainbow flag,
yeah,
you definitely are like, what are we doing?
right.
Again, love thy neighbor as thyself.
What do you think you can do to influence?
Lead a different way. And what I mean by that is actually showing up in my actions. When I ran for governor, and I did the same thing here now, but specifically when I ran for governor, I went everywhere. Went to all 75 counties multiple
Right,
times. And I made multiple trips to Harrison
right,
now
right,
and to Mena.
right,
You look at Harrison and Mena, you think a black man, what are you doing?
right,
And I went to Mena and I did a walk a mile in your shoes in every county. And the walk a mile we did in Mena was at sundown. So for those who know, Mena
right,
was a sundown town
right.
where there was literally a sign that said, if you were black, Mexican, what
And you
Jew.
saw this, or you're saying it was like
No,
this?
that was a sign. I
Yeah.
didn't see it on this
Okay,
trip.
okay,
There
okay,
used to be a sign in the
okay,
town
okay,
that said that. No, no,
I
no.
wanna
Now there are sundown towns that were all
yeah,
over the
I'm
country.
familiar.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, no, no. I'm glad you clarified.
Yes,
And what I'm saying is that we intentionally went to Mena at sundown
sir.
to break the stereotype,
Yes, sir.
because yes, that was true, but there are still people who live there
Right,
who are like, I just want what's best for my community.
right,
Period. I want my community to lift. I don't want to hurt anyone else. I want to help other people. And so I think there are more of us out there who just want good for each other
right,
than there are of us who want to divide. Unfortunately, those who want to divide are in control of the media. They're in control of the overall narrative. They're in power, and the way they stay in power is to keep us divided. So, at my leadership is to break through that. To say, no, 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 I don't care what your background is. Like, come to the table. Let's work together.
yeah. we could disagree on a lot of things, but I believe that at the end of the day, we probably all want the same
Yeah.
things,
Yep.
and I think real easy to lose sight of that. I
Yeah.
respect that you stand for what you stand for, and I'm gonna stand for what I stand for, and I'll stand firm,
Yeah.
and I respect that you do as well.
Exactly.
But doesn't mean that we don't have the same goal in mind. And I think,
Yeah.
man, they've lost sight of that.
We have.
I have all people, or is that
No, no.
just the
Look.
way it's
Let's be
set
clear.
up,
I
you
think
know?
there's some bad actors.
Right.
There are
No,
certainly some bad like,
definitely.
because there is self enrichment,
Right.
um, and they know exactly what they are doing. And then there are folks who allow bad actors. Maybe they're not really bad actors themselves, but they're not saying anything. They're silent, or they're voting in ways that support these bad actors.
Correct.
And then there are the rest of us. And some of us get caught up in the extremes one way or the other. But if you sit down and talk to them, I think 80% of the population, if you actually had a conversation, they're like, yeah, even though we disagree on some issues,
Yeah. You're all right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You're all
yeah.
right.
Like, oh, wait a minute, you play
Yeah.
football
Yeah.
too? Because
Yeah.
so I played football in high school. I was a strong safety and a quarterback. I ran track. I did the 4x4, and I was a pole
Right.
vaulter.
Right.
You have that conversation with people.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wait, I did too. And then you can start to talk about how we collectively fix
Right.
some of these issues around affordability and accountability.
Absolutely. And some of the ways we fix some of those things may be different than they
Oh,
are for
totally.
you and someone else,
And
right?
that's why I go back to the scientist.
Right.
It's there are different tools to build the building. And so, maybe the best thing is a jackhammer to break up the bad foundation. And the best thing is a concrete truck to lay a new foundation. But then once that's laid, maybe the best thing is a chisel,
Right.
and some drywall. Um, so I'm of the mindset that we spend too much time fighting and saying no, and not enough time saying, well, wait a minute, let me first understand. Before I just outright reject what you're saying, let me first understand, why is it that you're asking us to go in that direction? Is it that you just want your kids to be safe at school and safe in churches? Okay. Well, let's figure out how best to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's touch some of those topics. Are
Yeah.
you going to take all our guns, sir?
Look, I'm a Democrat, so we're supposed to take everybody's guns, right?
Right.
Come on, man. That's the kind of thing,
Yeah.
which is a great point. Like, look, I don't want to take anybody's gun, except, like, why is it that we allow folks to go through loopholes? Why is it that we can have a gun exchange in a dark alley
Right.
that's off the radar and nobody knows about it? I'm a gun owner myself. Like, I,
Right.
I own multiple guns. I'm actually a really good shot,
Right.
and I enjoy that. I know folks go hunting. Like, give me some deer meat all day long, and I enjoy the outdoors. So no, no, absolutely not. I'm not that. That is not the thing to do. What I will say though is, can we come together? And I have a 17-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 9-year-old, all girls, and at the beginning of every year, and I've done this since they were in preschool. As they're walking away, I take a photo. First day of school,
Yeah.
and I take a photo of the last day of school. I am giving them over to the school.
Yeah. Scary.
Scary. Why can't we agree that there are certain spaces that we're going to fight to protect? Now, yes, if you do something to my family, if you come in my household, I'm a minister and I'm going to pray for forgiveness after I handle my business. That doesn't stop us from saying, when our kids are at school, when we're in church services, our policies should be such that they are protected. And honestly, I think it's money and politics that's driving it. I don't,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
hard to argue.
yeah, right.
I don't care where you stand
Right.
on whatever.
What are we doing?
That's hard to argue.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah.
Again, I'm not trying to take anybody's gun. I got my own.
Right.
And I'm not going to let anybody take mine. But I think we can agree that we're not doing a good job protecting the most vulnerable in our society.
Right. Yeah.
We
We
we can agree on that. I mean, whether you're talking about Sandy Hook or Uvalde or what happens on a day-to-day basis in communities, like, come on. And it's just some things are just good sense.
yeah,
That's can we address the good sense stuff,
we have to protect our kids.
you know?
No 2 ways
And, and,
about it.
and part of it is we're not doing, and this is not only for guns, but other issues, we're not doing a good enough job at actually prosecuting the criminals when we,
Absolutely.
look, we fill out a form every time you
Yes, sir.
purchase a gun. Why aren't we doing a better job of tracking that?
Right.
It's not that difficult. So we have some things in place that we are not doing a good enough job enforcing. Let's start there. And then let's make sure we're protecting the most vulnerable.
Sir. Yes, sir. I hope we do find a
Yeah.
way, to protect our kids better and
And
to
we
get
can protect our kids
better
and go to the gun range and
at the same time. Right.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. We can do
Yes,
both.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned your faith a couple times
Yeah.
in here. I'd love to hear about that. How does your faith in politics?
Yeah. Look, my faith influences every aspect of my life. Um, I'm a preacher's kid,
Okay.
so I grew up deep in the church, and
Yes,
I'm
sir.
also an ordained minister. And for me, it is my North Star. It is what I look to when I make decisions big and small. I am a believer in Jesus Christ. Period. And again, as a follower of Christ, my Bible tells me to love my neighbor as myself. As a follower of Christ, my Bible tells me to take care of widows and the most vulnerable. That's what guides me. Um, and and I'll say, because we have this debate argument all the time with different folks. Um, my Christian faith is what guides me,
Yes, sir.
and I will fight to protect your right to have a Muslim faith or a Hindu faith or no faith at all. Uh, it is your right to do that
Right.
from a political standpoint. Now, when I'm in the church, of course, I'm going to share the good news,
Right.
and I believe that. Not I believe because the scriptures say it. Scriptures say, if I, meaning Jesus, be lifted up, then I'll draw all men unto me. I'm not asking for Chris to draw anybody to him. It's that my job is to lift him up. So that happens. And I think when we do a better job of protecting everyone's right to make their own decisions and go their own path, I think we'll be in a much better place. And right now, we're not doing a good enough job protecting everyone's right because it shouldn't matter from a society standpoint whether you're again a Muslim, Christian, Catholic, Hindu, Buddhist, no faith at all.
Right.
We're in society together. And I go back to where we started. My Bible says, love thy neighbor as thyself, not if they are also Christian, not if they're, okay, Christian and Jewish, okay, Christian and Jewish and Catholic, everybody
Right.
else. So,
Right. Yeah, I appreciate where you're coming from on that.
yeah,
Um, what would you say to skeptical voters who are listening to you?
yeah,
And yeah, I like your faith, and I like that I understand you're
yeah.
not going to take my guns, but I don't know. I
I
don't
don't
vote
know.
Democrat. I
Yeah.
just don't. You know.
Yeah. Look, I'll say a couple things because it's valid, right? I mean, people are coming from a place of concern. I had a conversation where one person told me, "I like you a lot, I like your faith, like it's, but
Right.
you're gonna get up there and you're gonna do
Yeah.
whatever the Democrats say do."
Right. Because that's what
Well,
they all do. In all
that
fairness, sir, I don't.
well,
That's what happens, right?
it it could,
Right. It
it
happens a
could,
lot with us.
it happens a lot, but it does not happen all the time.
Right.
And in fact, I think that is one of the reasons I am running against French Hill right now. Because while you may say it on the Democratic side, he is doing it on the Republican side. He is voting 98, 99% without saying, wait a minute, what do my constituents want?
Right.
And for me, I'm asking folks a few things. Number one, to ask yourselves over the last 10 years since French Hill has been in office, how is your life better? Like, objectively,
It's a fair question.
how is your life better? Answer that. Meanwhile, and it's not personal, this is public information, his net wealth went from 2 million to 20 million while he's been in office over the last 10 years. So how has your life improved in at that scale? The second thing, and this is where a bit of trust comes in. We need a new direction. I think most people agree to that.
I do too.
Um, I am not asking folks to become Democrats. Stay a Republican, stay independent, stay libertarian. I'm asking you to take a chance on Chris Jones. Now, could it be the case that I get up there and, you get swallowed in with all the madness? Possible. I'm married to a combat veteran and she's not having that mess. And I have 3 daughters and they're like, "Daddy," that they'll keep me in line.
Right.
And I'll say I'm a scientist. And I as I mentioned before, I objectively look at everything. I'm not going there to be a lifer. Don't want it. I am going to bring change. So my ask is to folks to ask themselves that first question: how's your life better? And then I'm asking people to take a chance.
And
And look, if I don't meet the mark, vote me out. Vote me out. And here's the difference. I will never be afraid to show up and hear from folks. You know, um, in my DNA, in part because I always wanted to be an astronaut, but I couldn't because I can't hear out of my right ear. So I'm deaf in my right ear, always have been. Um, Now the thing about that is, even with that invisible disability, what it forced me to do was to listen harder. And that forced me to be more empathetic. And that listening and that empathy is what I believe we need in this moment. And that listening and that empathy is why I'm running. Not to promote a Democrat agenda, not to promote a Republican agenda, but to truly do what is best for the folks in Arkansas, because Chris Jones would not be Dr. Jones if not for the foundation I got in Arkansas.
right.
I would not have been able to literally travel the world, run multiple businesses, start my own businesses. Um, it, I ran the innovation hub here. We launched the Skills to Launch program that trained folks in roofing, welding, HVAC, and carpentry with a 95% job placement rate. Part of the reason I was able to do that is because of what I learned elsewhere. But I don't learn things elsewhere if not for the foundation I got in Arkansas. And so for me, I am doing this because I
Mhm.
want future generations and the current one to have those opportunities to make the choices they want to make. So I am asking folks to take a risk, take a chance, not to become a Democrat, but take a chance on someone who is a Democrat. But more than being a Democrat, I'm an Arkansan.
Wow. A lot to think about, sir. It
Yeah,
really
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Given me a lot to
Good, good,
consider,
good, good,
and
good, good.
I hope everyone else as well.
I hope they do. I mean, this is a moment. Um, I think every now and then we get these moments where we kind of have to take off our jersey, and we're in a moment where we have to take off our jersey, our our red blue jersey,
I understand.
and reveal our human jersey. Because what we didn't talk about, which I think is critical in this moment, is AI and data centers.
Right.
I'm a nuclear engineer, and I think AI, so nuclear power could either power whole communities or nuclear bombs could destroy whole societies.
Right.
AI is that times 1,000 at least. The power of AI could fundamentally transform economic opportunities for communities. It could also leave communities so far behind, whether it's utility rates, water rates, heat, noise from data centers, or whether it's the potential for 20 to 30% job elimination
Right.
from AI. I think we're in a moment where we take off our red blue jerseys, put on our human jerseys, and say, how do we address that
Right.
together? Because
Right.
if we don't address that together, we're in trouble.
Where do you stand on it? I mean,
Look,
where do we go?
I'm a tech guy, but at the same time, one, I go back to what I said. Who does it benefit? So there is no reason why we should be investing in infrastructure, data centers, and or technology, AI, and only a small handful of people go from billionaires to trillionaires, while the rest of us are jobless and struggling. That makes no sense. And just practically, there would be no AI if not for data, and that data comes from us.
Right.
So technically, I got some sweat equity in AI.
Right.
So if I have sweat equity in AI, why don't I have stocks in AI? And it's a sovereign wealth fund. You go to Alaska, Texas, Louisiana, and by the mere fact that you are a resident of that state, you get some benefits from the oil company.
Okay.
Why don't we do that for AI? Number two, why don't we say, okay, wait a minute. Yes, we want advancement, but do we need to move at the speed with which we're moving in a way that actually does not bring in the community?
Right.
Because here's my philosophy, my belief. The people most impacted by decisions must be at the table when decisions are made. Whether you're talking about education or gun rights or AI. And so far, there have been too many instances where the communities that are directly impacted by data centers, higher utility rates, poor water, electricity rates going up, the local temperature going up, they have not been included in the process. And that's a policy decision.
Yeah, that shouldn't happen.
Like, what are we doing? What
Yeah.
are we doing?
You have to include people in conversation.
And that to me should be easy for anybody,
Right.
Republican, Democrat, Independent. Like, if it's in your backyard, shouldn't you be at the table making decisions?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And AI is moving so fast that we are not allowing it. As congressman, I would fight to make sure that people are at the table when decisions are made if it impacts them.
Right.
And as congressman, I would fight to make sure that the benefits of AI go to the people in the second congressional district and go to the people in Arkansas. Because somebody's gonna pay the cost too.
Right.
So right now the setup is we are paying the costs and we're not getting the benefits. Here's a prime example. You know, let's say you own, I don't know, 1,000,000 acres of land. 1,000,000 acres.
Right.
And I come by and I steal 100 acres. You, you don't know I stole
Never
100
miss
acres.
it. Right.
I never miss it.
Right.
But then I turn around and I say, hey, Chris, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sell you back an acre of land at a $5 a month.
Right.
Isn't that a great deal?
Right.
It's like, wait a minute. You're selling me back the land that you stole from me.
Right.
That is in part what some of AI is.
Right.
They take our data, pieces of it, and then they take a smaller piece and they sell it back to us. Whether I'm gonna help you write this email, I'll help you, make this graphic.
Right.
Taking our
But you're gonna
creativity,
pay me to
and then you pay
use
me
the
and I'll do it.
service. Right. Right.
And in fact, that is effectively what some of these folks, Elon Musk and others, have said. Like, I want to take human intelligence and sell it back to humans.
Right.
Why are our policies allowing that to happen? Why aren't our policies? I mean, to me, government is to protect citizens and to help citizens receive the maximum benefit. Like, well, why are my tax dollars going to make Elon Musk richer? I haven't met anybody who's given me a real good justification for that.
I don't know. Feel like innovative people, and not
Yeah, yeah.
looking
No,
at
no,
it
please,
from
yeah.
an Elon Musk. I'm a tech guy too,
Yeah.
and to some extent, some of it's way above me. But I feel like innovation. I feel like progression and
Yeah,
innovation is going to come AI,
it is.
and I respect the environmental concerns behind it very much.
Here's the difference. And again, I'm a super tech guy.
Right.
I
Yeah.
lo-
Yeah. Right.
I've organized conferences on AI.
Right.
I have a Substack that has a 13-part series on AI. Been all over the stuff. Here's the key difference. When Ford introduced innovation to replace the horse and buggy with the car. When Vanderbilt's introduced innovation to move masses of weight of materials from one place to another, the train. That introduction of innovation and technology came with large scale jobs.
Right. Right.
The beauty and danger of AI is that 3 people could sit down and come up with a $1 billion idea
Right.
and actually implement it. 3 people.
And they have to have the money to implement it.
And they have to
Right.
have the money to implement it, but
Right.
you no longer need accountants, you no longer need
Right.
manufacturing folks, you only. And again, I don't fault anyone for the innovation. Like, let's
Right.
do it. But if I am using my tax dollars to subsidize it in some way, or if I am paying the costs through increased
Right.
utility rates in some way, then why am I not getting some benefits is
And
all I'm
then no
saying.
question.
You know?
Right.
And the benefits could come in interesting ways. And like, why are we taking some of the most impoverished areas and saying, okay, well, we'll allow you access to AI so you can take your business ideas and turn them into real companies. I mean, there are a million different ways you can cut this.
Right.
I'm just saying that, like, we have to pause and think about,
Right.
this isn't the same as the Industrial Revolution
Right.
because the rate of change is so fast. One of my good friends is the godfather of, like, literally the godfather of tech in Atlanta. He's one of the leading tech guys in Atlanta. And he said every week something comes out through AI that blows his mind. The rate of change is so fast. And I'm not saying stop
Yes.
that change. I'm saying it is incumbent upon us to be mindful of what is going to happen,
Right.
because once it happens, it's too late.
Right. Yeah, I
It's too late.
understand. And I'm looking at it from the point of view that you just gave, that this is gonna give opportunity
Oh, yeah.
to people who otherwise
Yes. Yes.
wouldn't have had it. People that are innovative, but they don't have the same opportunities. This levels a playing field from people.
But here's the deal. When I ran for governor, I ran on, people laughed at it, but they loved it. I ran on PB&J,
Huh?
preschool broadband and jobs. PB&J, preschool broadband and jobs. That middle one, broadband,
Oh.
was critical because of what you said.
Even playing.
Because right now, there are far too many folks in Appalachia, in the Ozarks, in Southeast Arkansas, who actually don't have access to internet, Wi-Fi. So we can talk about it leveling the playing field. But if they don't have cell phone access, much less Wi-Fi access, then how are they benefiting from that? And it only increases the wealth gap, which hurts society.
Right. And I think that's gonna step to the next issue. Next, one of the other education, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think that when we say education, I think immediately people think of your ABCs and your one, two, threes. But can those people implement those things when they don't have the same exposure?
Yeah.
Right. And again, I'm talking about people that I think are very innovative, people
Yeah.
who are,
Yeah.
find a way to make something out of nothing
Right.
every day.
Every
right?
single day.
And all the respect in the world, but don't necessarily have their eyes on the same things as
Yeah.
people who have been raised with these opportunities sitting in front of them. Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
And how do you level that out and get people where they do have the
Yeah.
right? That education is what I would
It's
love to see
critical.
intact.
It's, I mean, look,
That's what we lack here in Arkansas.
that's, oh my goodness, yes. And you've been here 40 something years, you said?
Yeah, 47 years. All my
47
life.
years.
Yes, sir.
So you remember when education in Arkansas was different,
Yes, sir.
when we were leading
Yes,
the
sir.
nation. That's the Arkansas I grew
Yes,
up
sir.
in. And that's the foundation I got. And I think that's what families and kids deserve now. That same quality. But instead, we're 48th, 49th in education.
Yes, sir.
You know, we're holding back hundreds, if not thousands, of kids in the 3rd grade because they can't read.
Right.
And which to me is an indictment on us. Because first of all, why are we waiting to the 3rd grade? We know from kindergarten whether or not they're struggling. So why don't, again, I said I ran PB&J. Imagine if everybody had high quality pre-K. If
Right.
you had high quality pre-K, you're more likely to be able to read by the time you get to third grade. And if you're doing that, you're less likely to go to prison. You're more likely to have a job. You're more likely to contribute to society. So it's not that complicated. Part of the challenge is, though, we're not even having a conversation.
Yes, sir. I agree.
Congress is they're cutting health benefits, cutting SNAP, silent on an unwanted war, and fighting culture wars to say, well, if you're an immigrant, then you're bad. If you're this, then you're good or bad. What are we doing? We should be saying, what does education need to look like now in order for us to have the most opportunities to be the most productive people, citizens later?
Right.
Have you heard anybody having those conversations?
No, you don't hear it. You
No,
don't hear it very often.
no,
No, sir.
no.
Me.
It's too much virtue signaling, cultural signaling.
Right.
Oh, come election time. Here's what'll happen. Come election time, some of your listeners will get ads that say, "Oh, Chris is a super radical liberal, Marxist, socialist, communist."
That's the new thing,
That's
right?
the thing, and
That's the new politics.
they're gonna darken.
Yeah.
French is gonna darken my skin.
Yeah.
He's gonna send a flyer out. They're gonna say, "Oh, scary Chris is coming for you and coming for your guns." No, I just want to have a conversation about how do we make education better? How do we make sure that people have health care? How do we make sure folks can afford the groceries and have really, really good jobs that allow them to not only pay their bills, not only save a little money for retirement, but take a vacation every now and then. I don't think that's too much to ask. And when did we stop doing that?
It's a good question. I don't know the
Yeah. Well, I'm fighting to get in Congress so we can start it back.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, appreciate it.
So, you know, my next question on the podcast here,
Yeah.
we try to focus a lot on education. Uh, like, what do people, um, most people don't understand what you just said. You know, this is going to happen. This is what happens
Yeah.
in
Every time.
campaigns. We're going to, uh, if we don't have something bad about you, we're going to make something up. We're
Yeah.
going to throw it out,
Yeah. Make some up.
and
Yep.
we're going to do that in the last week before everybody goes
Yep.
and votes. And that's how it works, right? That's the new politics. Um, what is it that you wish people understood about government and politics, maybe Congress, that they don't understand? Because that's the kind of stuff I really
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
understand.
That's a great question because I mean, first of all, again, you're right that in the last stretch of campaigning, all that stuff will come out.
When it's gonna happen.
And what I really want folks to understand is kind of at least two parts. One that money in politics is shaping policy in ways that are both harmful and move power away from people. Right? So the way the founders 250 years were celebrating and the way the founders structured our government was that at the end of the day, power still belongs to the people. How does that look? Like representative democracy. Every 2 years, we can fire every single one of the congressmen, all of them.
Right.
Just literally just get rid of all of them. That was intentional. And in part because the House of Representatives was supposed to be the people's house, closest to the people. So, but when we put money in politics and we gerrymander,
Right.
and we have politicians who are able to choose their voters instead of voters choosing their politicians, when we have so much money that now one politician can flood media
Right.
through TV, flyers, ads, and another one who's out there showing up in community all the time can't compete with that. That's money controlling politics and moving power away from the people. I think the other thing that I would say is that um, the way to get around that is for people to lean in and engage, for people to ask hard questions of their elected
That's what
officials.
failing.
They're not leaning in it because look again. Either your life conditions are so stressful that you literally don't have time. Talked to one guy. He said, "I work every week at least 100 hours a week," and that's the Monday through Saturday, Monday through Friday, and then he throws in a couple extra hours on the weekend sometimes to barely make ends meet. You don't have time to think about go to a political forum,
Right.
have that discussion.
Of course.
So, but there are folks out there who could lean in. There are folks out there who could ask the tough questions. Objectively, how is my life better over the last 10 years? Objectively, what, fine. Your knee jerk reaction is, I'm a Democrat, so I'm going to be bad.
Right.
Chris is a Democrat. Chris is going to be bad for me. Knee jerk reaction. I'm not going to fault it. That's fine. Like, it happens. My ask is for you to pause after that knee jerk reaction and then look for evidence one way or the other.
Right.
If yes, the claim is, oh, big bad socialist Marxists, find the evidence. What you'll find is I've started businesses, so I'm an entrepreneur. What you'll find is I'm a man of faith, so I'm not the Antichrist. You know, what you'll find is I have 3 girls and I'm a combat veteran spouse. So yes, I care about and love the military. What you'll find is that I have my own gun, so I'm not trying to take yours. So, pause and objectively say, okay, what has he done for me? And are these bad things that I'm hearing about this other guy, Chris Jones, really the truth?
Yes.
And then finally, let me look at what Chris is actually trying to do. Affordability and accountability for all. And does that make sense to me? Is that going to be helpful to me? I believe that if all of your listeners do that, will all of them vote Chris Jones? No, absolutely not. But will an overwhelming majority of them feel like, you know what? Let me give this guy a chance. I believe so. Because at the end of the day, I'm an Arkansan. And right now, the person representing us now he was born in Arkansas and he's I think a 9th generation Arkansan, and that's fine. But his voting record does not say Arkansan. His voting record says, I'm a banker and I vote with billionaire bankers. His voting record says, I'm going to vote to cut health care and it won't impact me because I have enough money to buy my own health care. His voting record says, I've actually never. Farmers are committing suicide at a rate higher than we've ever seen before. In part because farmers are going bankrupt at a rate higher than we've ever seen before.
I've heard.
And when you've never experienced the stress of it being the 20th of the month and you literally ran out of money and bills are due and there's only 2 things in your refrigerator and 1 can of a container of Jiffy and a can of beans and some tuna in your pantry, and you have at least 10 days left in the month, like that is stressful. I've lived that stress. Like I grew up understanding what that means.
Yes, sir.
And if you haven't either experienced that, number one, or you don't have the empathy to pause and listen and understand and feel the pain of people who have experienced it, then you're not going to vote in a way that helps those people.
Would be hard to understand.
You don't understand. And again, if we look at his record, he is not voting in a way that helps those people. Now, I'll also say it's not just the folks who have experienced food stamps I have before. It's not just the folks who know what an eviction looks like, know what a repossession feels like, who ran out of money before they ran out of money. It's not just those. There's also the small business entrepreneur who's, I'm doing kind of okay. But if I had just some of these barriers removed, I could do way better and I could help a lot of other people.
Right.
If the pathway was just a little bit slicker, a little bit, if I could remove some friction from the system, then I could take what is my small enterprise and I can grow it.
Right.
But unfortunately, what we have is someone voting big business. And I'm not against big business, but if we're going to use our tax dollars to support someone, it should be for small business. That's where I say.
Yes, sir. A lot of people would agree with you.
Look, I've been all over the state. I've been, we did a town hall in every county, all 8 counties of the district when I launched the campaign, and we listened, and that's what folks are saying. That's why I was like, you know what? It's actually affordability and accountability for all. Folks want to be able to afford life. They don't want to be the ones to hold the brunt of the bad stuff, and they want to make sure that there's opportunity for everyone.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
what I'm fighting for.
Hard. Well, that's a noble fight.
There you go.
I respect it and I appreciate
Appreciate it.
Anything you'd like to offer our listeners?
Yeah.
I've enjoyed visiting with you.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope we can do it again. Look, I'd say a couple things. One, check my website out at chrisjonesforcongress.com, chrisjonesforcongress.com. Follow me on social media at Jones4AR, across any social media platform. Feel free to show up and ask me the tough questions. I think it's important. One, I want to represent this district, and I can't do that if I don't fully understand the concerns of folks. So I'm willing to listen and be there and hear, and I'm asking folks to, reciprocate that. I'll repeat, ask yourself, how is your life better in the last 10 years? And then objectively look at what I'm offering and ask yourself, what do I have to lose, as we've heard before?
Right.
Like,
Yes, sir.
seriously, what do you have to lose?